And we are back. We're talking about another anti-obesity medication that is new, but technically it's made up of two older medications that have been kicking around on the market for quite some time. So in that way, it's like Contrave, but it's not Contrave. And today's medication goes under the brand name Qsymia, Qsymia. I did like a decade of university in this area, and we did not have like a single course on like how to phonetically figure out and pronounce, words and scientific and pharmaceutical names and stuff like that. I've also just never been very good at it in general, but we're just going to go with it and just call it the Q drug. Everyone cool with that? All right. The drugs that are actually within the Q drug are Phentermine and Topiramate. Now, if you happen to be living outside the US of A, you're probably not very familiar with this Q drug. And that is because the US is one of the very few places where this drug is actually approved for use. I know it's not available here in Canada, and I also know that a number of European countries also haven't granted approval to be prescribed on their markets. And that is likely because of the tumultuous history that the phentermine component of this drug has had. So we're going to talk about it. And also, since because I'm from Canada, I don't have a heck of a lot of clinical experience with this medication, but I'll do my best to kind of give you guys the good overview as to whether this drug is worth it or not. Now, before we dive into the details, welcome back to the program, you beautiful people. My name is Dr. Dan. I am a pharmacist turned obesity expert. And of course, I need you to hit the subscribe button down below because, you gotta stay up to date with all the newest and latest videos that I'm putting out. As well, you got to check me out on my other channels at the official Dr. Dan. I'm on the Tik, the Talk, the Gram, you name it. We are out there. And check out our website, healthevolve.co. There you can find some more resources. As well, if you need some additional help on your weight management journey, you can book a free consult with myself to see if we can support you in our program. So first off, let's talk about the tumultuous history that phentermine has had. Perhaps you've heard of the fen-phen debacle. So phentermine originally came to market in 1959, and at present, it is the longest standing and oldest weight management medication currently on the market. Unfortunately, it was eventually combined with fenfluramine in the 1990s to make fen-phen, and this caused it to get a bit of a black mark on its record. You see, fen-phen was definitely helping people to lose weight, but it was also found to be causing some issues with people's heart valves. Now, I'm no cardiologist by any means, but I'm pretty sure those heart valves are pretty important for proper heart function and, living and such like that, right? Fortunately, though, it was found that it was actually just fenfluramine that was technically the bad guy, and phentermine didn't actually have any role in this heart valve damage that was appearing. And as such, fenfluramine was then pulled from the market and phentermine was allowed to continue its reign as the longest standing anti-obesity medications on the market. Of course, though, it has been very challenging for phentermine to shake that history with fenfluramine, and so it still has that black mark that it's probably going to carry around with it for the duration that it's on the market. Now, topiramate, on the other hand, the other component of the Q drug, was actually brought to market as an anti-seizure medication at first. And since then, it has been found to be quite effective in migraine prophylaxis, so preventing migraine. As well, there are a number of other off-label uses that will often use topiramate in. And at one point, people were considering topiramate as a standalone medication in obesity management because people that were taking it for other indications were actually losing weight and managing their weight with it. However, topiramate never quite made it as like a standalone anti-obesity medication because upon further research, while it did help with weight loss, certainly, it was found to cause some memory and mood issues. And it actually has a history of being called the California drug, and that's because it can make you skinny and can make you stupid. And as a side note, for the people that seem to get more easily triggered when watching my videos, I'm not saying that all the people of California are stupid by any means. I am just telling you about the history of this medication and what it has been called over the years. Capiche? Anyways, with the case of both these medications of phentermine and topiramate, we know that they could help with weight management. However, either their effectiveness alone or the side effects that would occur at higher doses needed to lead to weight management were not ideal for a drug on its own. So what a better opportunity than to combine both medications together in order to use lower doses of both of them to hopefully get a synergistic effect from the effectiveness part of things, but also lower the risk of potential side effects. And thus, Qsymia, the Q drug was born. All right, let's just go with the Q drug. So just how effective is the combination? Well, I am so glad you asked, because the Conquer clinical trial set out to answer that very question. So what we know is there is a ton of neuronal and peripheral pathways that are involved in appetite regulation. And everybody is going to have slightly different sensitivities and genetic makeup that create and develop these neuronal and peripheral pathways, and ultimately will drive how high or how low their appetite system regulates. And both phentermine and topiramate seem to work at various points along these regulation pathways and such, some of which we haven't quite fully teased out at this point in time, but both drugs seem to play a role in decreasing your appetite and decreasing your food-seeking behaviors. Anywho, onwards to the Conquer trial. So what Gaudet and friends did was they ran a double-blind placebo-controlled trial, and they created 3 groups with nearly 2,500 participants in this trial. Group number 1 was placebo. Group number 2 was considered low dose, which was phentermine 7.5 milligrams plus topiramate 46 milligrams once per day. And finally, group 3 was considered high dose, which was phentermine 15 milligrams and topiramate 92 milligrams once daily. And all participants within the groups were then monitored over a 56-week period, so a little over a year, to see what kind of results occurred in terms of weight management. Participants were also provided with some lifestyle counseling, so increasing activity, reducing your calories. They were provided some kind of learn manual. I don't exactly know what this learn manual is, and I didn't really have time to go and look it up, so you can sue me, but I'm assuming it has something to do with lifestyle regulation and modification and such. And they were all instructed to reduce their calorie intake by 500 calories per day. Now, a major negative of this study was that there was a huge number of people that dropped out and didn't actually complete the full study. In fact, 38% of that 2,500 people actually dropped out and didn't complete the study. And that included 43% from the placebo group, 31% from the low-dose Q drug group, and 36% from the high-dose Q drug group. And as far as clinical trials go, this is a pretty appalling number. Generally, if a study has greater than 20% dropout, we promptly throw it into the shredder or try to use it for fire starter. And the reason being is that a dropout rate this high indicates that there was some fundamental flaw that prevented people from continuing within the trial, or there was a great deal of intolerability to whatever agent was being tested. And with a high number of people being lost from the placebo group, I'm assuming that there was a lot of people who kind of realized, hey, I'm not getting any kind of benefit in terms of weight loss, or I'm not even noticing an appetite reduction based on the pills I'm taking. So F this, I'm out, and I'm going to go try something else. Now, of course, this is all speculation on my end of things, but you kind of get what I'm saying. When we have a high number of dropout and people not continuing and completing the trial, it is not the best case scenario. Now, the authors did gain some points by acknowledging that there was a huge dropout rate and thereby completing what's called an intention to treat analysis in order to try and mitigate this. And what an intention to treat analysis means is that the authors basically took everybody that started the trial, so maybe they only got 1 dose of the drug, or maybe they only got baseline assessments or what have you, and they treated these individuals as that was their one data point and that they actually did complete the study, so they carried their one data point forward to the end of the trial, and that was the data that they got for that individual and combined it in the final analysis. And in either case, Gaudet and friends got some pretty solid results overall. And as you can see from this graph right here, each group technically had 2 results that were punched out. The first and the more impressive number is what we call the completers. So the completers were the individuals that were in the study from start to finish. They took the drug or were part of their group for that entire duration of the study. And we have the assessments and follow-ups for them at each and every single time point throughout the duration of the study. So they completed the study. Then next up, we have the intention to treat, or the ITT data. And obviously, the ITT data does not look as impressive as the completer data, But it is the combination of the completers and the people who maybe only got one dose of the drug or what have you. And in reality, this gives us a better perspective of what's actually going to happen in real life for a vast majority of people. So this is probably closer to the real life result you're going to see. So in conclusion, as we saw in the graph right there, the high dose Q drug group in the intention to treat data lost almost 10% of their weight from baseline. So basically what they did is they took the individual's weight at their baseline level, and then they saw how much weight the average individual lost over that period of time. So if you were 100 kilos and you lost nearly 10%, you lost about 10 kilos, and so on and so forth. And as you can see from the low dose Q drug group, they lost nearly 8% of their weight from baseline on average, which overall isn't too bad for a weight management medication. And the authors also found improvements in other markers such as blood pressure and blood glucose levels with this weight loss amount in the various groups. And overall, the medication seemed to be pretty well tolerated, with a prickling sensation in hands and feet, as well as dizziness and headaches being kind of the main side effects that were reported. So, despite the flaw, not too bad of data for the Q drug. It looks like it's all right of a drug for weight management and certainly can be used if you do have it available in your country. The big question though, will this drug become more available or more accessible in other countries throughout the world? And in my opinion, I'm quite doubtful. I couldn't find a specific reason as to why it was denied here in Canada by Health Canada, but I'm assuming it's because of the tumultuous history that phentermine has been under with the fen-phen debacle. And obviously, Health Canada and other health authorities are trying to mitigate any future lawsuits that could come about if they approve a drug and it starts causing problems. You know what I mean? So that is it for today, my friends. That is the Q drug, or Qsymia, whatever. Again, we did not learn how to phonetically pronounce these things, and it's never been a strong suit of mine. Fully willing to admit that. Anyways, that's the data around that. Hope you enjoyed the video, and of course, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss another video. Check me out on my other channels at The Official Dr. Dan. As well, check out my website, healthevolve.co, where you can get more resources and book a free consult with myself if you need some additional support on your weight management journey. And as always, everyone, always remember that small tweaks lead to massive peaks.